Hey guys, who are here already? Let me see, let me see. Let me see you move. Hey Linda, hey Aninha. Let me fix that here. Good, let's go. Hello, hello. Myles and Tessa, how are you guys? Let me invite you right now. Myles and Tessa. Hey guys, how are you doing?
Hi.
Bom dia.
Bom dia.
Bom dia. Actually, it's
Oh,
good
that's-
night here. It's
Oh, it's
very,
nighttime there.
yeah, it's 11 p.m. in Brazil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nice.
How are you guys? You good?
We're very good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
it's good.
Are you guys in quarantine? No.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, but it's still like self quarantine. Like the city's not locked down.
Yeah.
But almost everything's shut down except for places that serve food, hospitals, essential service stuff.
Mm.
You know, highly recommended not to go out. So we just chill.
Yeah, it's the same thing. Like it's the same from Brazil. Like we have just supermarket and pharmacies open. Food there's all like drive-through or something like that. And I just got some acai. Do you want some acai?
Oh, jealous.
Like one of my favorite things ever.
Yeah, me too. I love it. So when it starts in Canada, guys? So this quarantine thing.
Well, it's right about the same time as everywhere else, like just after we got back from Mad Jam. But then like it seemed over a course of a week, like everything started shutting down. Like we were in the middle of our footwork agility challenge and we ran out of studio space because the studio shut down and then the gym shut down. And fortunately we have a portable floor outside so we could still film videos. But everything just started shutting down later that week after Mad Jam.
Yeah, like the first weekend that we got home from Mad Jam, the bar that I work at was open, but at a reduced capacity. And then by the second weekend, no, nothing was open.
Okay.
And now all of the downtown core, the shops and the bars, they're all boarded up because people were looting. But yeah, so pretty much like it was definitive by 2 weeks after Mad Jam, whatever the end of March.
So it was March, right?
Yeah.
Right after. Yeah. So people who are watching us right now, where are you? Where are you from? What's the time for you? Yeah.
Hey everybody.
Yeah, it's just so hard to find a time to do a live like that because West Coast Swing World is like for us. Hey, Rebecca, this is from Brazil. She is missing
Oh, Becca, oh, I miss you.
Yeah, it's just like for people in Europe is always sleep right now. It's sleeping time in Europe. People in Korea is in the morning. It's like after, the night is just starting for you guys, right? Like how? Hey, Myles and Tessa, 10 a.m. from Singapore. Yeah.
Nice.
That's it. That's a comfortable time.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good. Do you guys have a dance studio at home or something like that, or not?
Like we teach our private lessons out of the dance studio. It's about 20 minutes from our house.
We don't own it. We don't have a lease. We don't have a rent or anything to pay. So the studio shut down. It's privately owned, but we're not suffering. We're not on the hook for anything.
Yeah. Like some people are complaining, like talk to me and say, "Oh, that's bad for dance teachers right now." I mean, for dance teachers, it's not that bad. It's pretty bad for the owners of dance studios.
Yes.
Because that's crazy for them. It's just like you have a gym right now, and you have to close your gym for like 1 month, 2 months, and you still have to pay your bills. That's crazy. Yeah, for
a
us,
lot of our
like it's for us, it's just like a big challenge. It's a very it's a new time. What do you guys think about that? Like, what have you been done for doing your classes and keep your students? Because I know you guys did some challenge and a lot of people are enjoying that. So, but you guys have been working with online classes much before all this thing happened, right?
Mhm.
So you
Yeah.
are 100% kind of prepared for it, right?
Yeah. So what happened was, sorry, I have a cough because I had a cold a few weeks ago and I just have a lingering cough. But don't worry about me until it's fine.
It's nothing serious.
Yeah.
So go ahead.
So they started the online courses we've been doing for several years now have been for the swing literacy dancer development program and the teacher development program, and those have been running in the background of our other dance business for several years now, almost a decade. And those have been going really well, except that we haven't really been pushing them too hard until kind of lately. Well, when we got back from Mad Jam, we wanted to give back to the community in a bigger way. We wanted to give people a project to distract them. So we came up with the Footwork Agility Challenge. And the point of that was to give them something in their inbox every day, to give them a project to work on and a community to belong to all have similar goals and can work together.
It was a week long. It was a free thing. We ended up having 3,400 people
from 37 countries that
participating in it,
which was amazing turnout.
Like, we honestly expected about 200 to 300 maximum.
But it was just the kind of thing that people really needed in that moment. They needed that kind of project. They needed that distraction. So, and then 7 days later, the whole world turned upside down, and we knew that these dancers would need us more than ever. So fortunately, because we've been delivering online training programs to the dancers and teachers for years, we already had the technical and the technical and curriculum infrastructure to be able to deliver something en masse as online content. And we also had the teaching agility to be able to pivot our business and take that signature course, and we kind of evolved it. We changed it into a group thing instead of an individual thing. So we came up with the boot camp, which is the 12-week group version of our 30-hour digital course of the Swing Literacy Dancer Development Program. And it started April 1st. So now we've got 190 dancers that we're taking through this program at an aggressive pace so that they can benefit from the immersion experience and get really transformative results in their quality of movement, whether it's with a partner or without a partner. So what our lives look like right now is, instead of traveling and being super busy, and instead of doing any kind of local private here, we never had any group classes here. So that's not new.
Like 10 years ago we did.
Yeah. But that was
like, I mean, how many months a year are you guys at home? Do you know that?
You would
probably about
break it down to weeks.
12 to 16 weeks a year we're home.
Yeah,
so
it's like impossible to create like a group there, right? So because you are on the road all the time.
Right. So what we do is we coach the teachers that are here to do the groups. So we've been coaching teachers for years. So now what our business looks like is we're 100% of our energy is being able to be put towards these online programs, coaching and making a difference for teachers and students, which we love.
Yeah.
We're crazy busy, but we're super fulfilled.
Like doing, watching everyone's videos of them practicing all the techniques and the drills, then responding and giving them feedback on them. And then we do 4 live calls per week with the group to answer the questions, show things they can, with the Zoom platform, which has been amazing how it was released in its newest form right before all this happened. It's a really great platform. So it allows us to kind of interact with everybody. And it's been really amazing.
That's great. I want to know, like, what you guys can tell for the students right now about how they can improve themselves without have a teacher right there. Because I mean, right now I like to say the game is the same for everybody. Like, all the pros in the world have the same tools to create your students and to teach. Because I was just talking with Brad, because I did my first live was with Brad, and I said, like, before we have to work for promoters, so the promoters have to say, oh, I want a Diego, I want a Myles and Tessa, then the students can have us. But right now everybody can have everybody. They just need to, like, they can just decide, I want to do class with everyone. Then I decide I like this, I don't like that, I like this, I don't like that, and that's great for us. It's very open moment. Um, before you guys talk about that, I just want to say for people who are here about how we met each other. Yeah, I told you like that these two have the first video that I met West Coast Swing. I just posted in my Instagram today. I don't know.
I saw
Do
that.
do you know the name of that song?
Yeah. Haven't thought about it in a long time.
Yeah, but I love it. Like I don't think I have ever danced that song or no. They do not play
I
that,
forgot.
right?
Yeah. It's been a while since I've thought about that song, but yeah, I know what you mean. It's gonna bug him now. He's gonna look it up.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, Myles and Tessa will show for all of us, but was my first video. I saw, oh, that's cool, that's great. And my second one actually was Tessa with Ben Morris. I don't know if I told you that, but it's a very old one too. Like when the something like that. It's pretty
Right.
cool. Yeah. Then Tessa was my first pro in my first pro am in 2010, San Diego. Yeah.
Yep.
So oh my gosh, it's 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah.
that.
Well, you just had your dance anniversary. I just had my 20th dance anniversary.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
that's cool.
Easter weekend was 20 years of dancing West Coast Swing.
That's
Yay.
great, Tessa. Which was your first event?
Easter Swing. So in
It's
Seattle. Mm-hmm. So,
really close to you, right?
yeah, it's
Yeah.
only a 3-hour drive. And I was explaining to people on my webpage or on my Facebook page when I was announcing it, that I was so green. I'd only been dancing West Coast Swing for 4 weeks. And I thought I had a totally different misconception of what it was. My ballroom teacher actually was recommending that we go to this convention. So I was thinking business convention, and I packed in my suitcase all business attire to go to Easter Swing. And I thought that West Coast Swing was boring, slow, kind of hokey
For old people.
for old people my parents' age. And then I got to Easter Swing and I walked into the ballroom and I was blown away. And I said, I want to drop everything. I don't want to dance anything else but this dance. This is amazing.
That's cool. That's
Yeah. That was 20 years ago.
Yeah. Before we heard Myles' story, I just want to know if you are watching us, please, if you can just like or share. Oh, what's that?
Yeah, thanks, Andrew. That's my cousin. Thank you. Yes, I'm only 25. That's right.
Yeah. Nice. So you can also tap on this, like looks like an airplane, a paper airplane, and you share this live for your friends so more people will see us right now. So this help us. So thank you so much. So Myles, so how about you? When was your first event? What did you do?
I'm just going to go back one quick second. The song is Comeback by Josh Rose or Rouse.
Mm-hmm.
So you can write that down.
I will. Come back.
Comeback by Josh Rouse. House for you.
Mm-hmm. There's a funny story of that video, actually. So that video was from Reno 2005. Five? Yeah. And interesting story is in that video, Myles and I are actually fighting because we had a disagreement over something earlier in that day, and we happened to draw each other.
Before that dance.
Right? Yeah.
Because of the prelims.
Yeah, and we don't want to get into that story, but the point is we were fighting at the time, and we actually drew each other by accident in the Jack and Jill. It wasn't a Strictly, it was Jack and Jill. And I'm like, oh, great. So in that dance, we're actually in the middle of the fight.
I would say she's pretty pissed at me.
Yeah, and then it went okay. Everything was over. It was fine after that. But those were the very early days of YouTube. The very early days of YouTube. And at the time, I was trying to anticipate how the market would use YouTube in the future. So my intention was that YouTube would be a place where people would post snippets or teasers of clips that then you would then be encouraged to go to a website and watch the entire video. So I only posted 1:15 and intentionally cut it short so that people would go, oh, I want more, and they'd click the link to go to our website.
We had no
So
idea full videos were a thing.
no.
Hashtags weren't a thing. Like,
So that's why it's so short.
yeah,
It was actually cut short on purpose. And what it
Yeah.
ended up doing is it made people watch the whole video, which counts in YouTube's metrics. So then we got a lot more views. So we had the highest ranking video on YouTube for like a decade.
I remember you saying something like that. Correct me if I'm wrong, but when you write West Coast Swing on YouTube, that is the first video they show, or not?
For a long time it was.
it
Yeah.
was. They've changed their analytics now, so it goes on recent as well as top and popularity shares. But back in the day, it was just views, and yeah, we were crazy on it just because of that lack of knowledge, really.
It's still good. Of course, not just that video, but the whole social media and the whole work you guys have been done. Like, everybody knows you. And right now it's pretty easy to find you. Like, they don't need all of those things. Like, they go on your Instagram. Actually, let me ask you, what is your strongest, let's say, social media place? You guys use more Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, your website?
Oh, definitely Facebook.
Yeah,
Facebook?
Definitely Facebook. Mm-hmm.
our Instagram game should be stronger, but definitely our Facebook is our main.
But in Canada, what's bigger, Instagram or Facebook?
Oh, Insta.
No, I think it's a generational thing, honestly. I think a lot of millennials are on Instagram, and I think everyone else is on Facebook. And most of the West Coast Swing community, I think, is on Facebook. I think there's people that dabble in Instagram, but there's not a lot of West Coast Swing sharing and promotion and discussions happening on Instagram.
Yeah.
You're an exception to the rule, Diego.
You know, I'm just doing that because, as far as I know, we cannot do that on Facebook, right? I cannot do a live and invite you to come to the live with me. I don't think it's possible on Facebook.
I
think they just changed it.
Yeah, I think it is now.
They added a meeting feature.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we can do that there?
I haven't tested it, but I have read something about that, yeah.
Yeah.
Diego,
I saw it a couple weeks ago.
Let's see. Sorry. Just
About your microphone.
No. I just need, someone talk about my audio. Wait a second. I'll try to fix that. Let's see if I use my headsets. I'm back, this time. Yeah. Can you guys listen well? It's good?
It sounds to me now like you're talking to us from the space shuttle.
Yeah, I think like that's good for you.
Well, it's good for us, but it depends on your listeners, right?
Yeah. It was just one girl, and she is from Brazil. I don't care. So.
Oh.
Well, we love Rebecca.
I get it. So yeah, I feel like because Brazil, like people in Brazil, they do not use Facebook anymore. Basically, everybody is on Instagram. But for West Coast Swing, I still have to promote everything on Facebook because basically everybody's still there. I mean, if it's for my choice, I decide to do everything on here, like one platform.
Yeah, and I think if our community wasn't still so based there, we would all switch too. Like in my normal life and in my bar life and everything like
Your
that.
normal life.
Like walking around in the gym and everything like that. Like I would never use Facebook.
Your civilian life.
Everything's Instagram. At the bar, everything's Instagram based.
Yeah.
You know, it's just because our community is there, we have to. Right?
Yeah, it's the same here, guys. You have been teaching like thousands, hundreds of students by offline way. So right now, everybody needs to learn in this way. So what do we think are the best choices for them to do right now? And I want to ask you some questions about it. First of all, what do you think about how many teachers they should looking for? Because this is like I was talking in my life with Z. I was talking about that when I started to learn West Coast Swing. I did private lessons with everybody because I want to know everybody. Then when you go to some level, I do think you have to decide who will be your mentors. And because sometimes people say, go to this way, and they were the one I always say that I had one private lesson with Brensky, and Brent love footworks, right? So Brent teach me so many footworks, and it was amazing class, and I love it because he said, Diego, you need more footworks. And I say, okay, let's do it. And Brent left the room, and the next one was Ben Morris, and Ben Morris come to my room, and he said, come on, Diego, dance. And I danced, and Ben Morris just said, you do too much footworks. You should stop your feet. And oh, fuck, like I just spent 1 hour here, then you tell me the opposite thing. And that happens all the time. Like people say, okay, you have to use your hip to create connection. No, you have to use your center. No, use your head. No, so it's all different. So sometimes people should choose like, okay, I want to at least this guy for musicality, this one for technique, this one for that, this one for that. And right now they can have basically everybody. So what you guys you advise them to do right now?
Yeah, so we kind of thought a little bit about this. We've got some kind of notes, but the general theme is to get organized first and figure out some holes, some things. Like Tessa's got some really good points on this. But most of our learning, like you were just saying, is very sporadic. It's very piecemeal, if you will. So we want to just make sure that in this time, we're taking time to get ourselves organized in our learning that we already have done, and that will help us figure out where to go. Because you're right, there's everybody's available right now, like literally everybody.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna hand this over to her.
To answer your question, I don't think that you need to specialize or be focused on one particular teacher at the beginning stages of your career. You should definitely be kind of not shopping around, but diversifying your investments, if you will, and hopefully starting to get kind of a better picture. It's really, really difficult because everything's kind of scattered. But if you just follow start to get a consensus of what most people are saying, you kind of develop a better, clearer picture. Now, there's ways that you can actually make that picture even clearer for yourself or get even more organized. So right now in these times, there's so much content available online right now. It's easy to like binge and get overwhelmed with all this stuff. But if you don't give yourself time to process, your brain's going to turn into that junk drawer, that you have in your kitchen where you throw everything and you say, I'm going to get organized at some point later, someday, right? This is that day. This is that day. This is the time to get organized right now. I have Myles doing so many organizational things around the house. This is awesome. My house has never been cleaner. My garage, my cupboard is great.
That's your job, Myles, right?
Well, I mean, she's doing all the technical stuff on our programs and all that back end things. So
he's support staff.
Yeah. I have to take care of the team now.
Doing the heavy lifting.
Like you both are like business minds, or is more one of you?
Yeah, it's me.
So you take care of all of those. Like Myles is just the strong arms and the pretty.
And what strong arms they are! I mean, have you seen these bad boys?
Yeah.
She does, we always kind of joke, like she does all the organization and all the planning and structure and everything, and then I just show up.
Yeah, I mean, he's got other duties. Like he does all of our media, so like he'll take care of all of our technology, our hardware, our filming equipment, all of the programs on the computer. Like today, he was just doing some troubleshooting on the computer for me. So.
And then I cook, and I'm doing most of the cleaning.
He's a good cook. Yeah.
Yeah.
Anyway,
so going back.
So getting back to your organization, right? You can do the same kind of drawer organization that you do in your house with your classes as well. So a lot of the online content that you're getting from teachers right now is kind of a mix of local and pro, and everybody's accessible, right? But a lot of those are recorded. So if you can record, or if you can get the recordings for most of them, they're actually a lot easier to file and organize. So consider it like those recordings are all your own personal little Netflix. So you could sort them by teacher. You could sort them by level. You could sort them by topic, right? So here's a couple of different ideas.
I would never sort them by date.
No. Yeah, unless it's progressive content. So if a teacher has progressive content that builds from week to week, like let's say they're doing 4 classes in May and they're all on a Sunday and they all progress, then great, let's keep that in a package. You could try, or you could try waiting for that entire season, you know, like Netflix season to be released and then watch the whole season at once. That would actually be a way to make sure that your brain is ready to hear that progressive content. I don't know about you, but I did not like it when I had to watch Game of Thrones 1 episode per week. I needed the entire season all at once.
Once we got treated with this idea of an entire season being available, it ruined it for me to have to wait.
I kind of prefer watching series that are already done. Like
me too.
6, 7 series. Okay, now I'm ready.
You know, like The Witcher on Netflix?
She won't even start one if it's only 1 season right now.
You know, like The Witcher on Netflix? Everybody says, oh, yeah, The Witcher, it's a really good show. Oh, how many seasons is it? Oh, it's only the first season. Nope, no thanks. I'll wait till next year.
I just watched Friends a couple years ago.
Oh, nice.
Oh,
oh, yeah.
Yeah, so you're saying, like, let's see if I understand. You guys have talked about people create, like, a Spotify list for them with different pros. Is that?
Kinda. Maybe a YouTube list. Maybe depends on what kind of form the recordings are coming in, right?
Yeah.
Now, because then you get the effect of the entire story that the artist was trying to express, right? Or here's another way to organize it. If several of your favorite classes are like footwork oriented, sort them from easiest to hardest, and then work your way through them, like one theme for your whole day or your whole weekend, or take a whole week to go through all your footwork classes, or even a whole month of just footwork, and then move on to a different theme.
Yeah. So the lessons may be out of chronological order, but
and they might be taught from different teachers.
Yeah, but you're making sure that the content that you're giving yourself at that point is kind of structured in a way that it's going to be more accessible because it's building on each skill rather than, again, all the complete random.
We could totally get into some super pedagogical nerdiness when we're talking about progressive skill development, but I want to stay focused on the topic you asked us for. You could do this for organizing your...
can say who make these people improve or happy or inspire them.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you could do this same thing. We're categorizing your patterns as well.
I could do like all the classes that focused on a left side variations, right? Put all those videos together. Everything that's whip variations, I'm going to put those videos together. Again, just so my brain's not so scattered.
Working so hard.
As we're trying to find things, because part of how we learn is going from being able to recall something and then being able to repeat it.
And retrieve it,
right? But when it's so scattered like that, it's so hard for us to even recall because we don't know where the hell we put it.
You know, like 15 years ago when we used to have computers that had CPU units, right? My PC, I remember it was a long time ago. We used to have to defragment it. Do you remember that?
No.
We had defragmenting your hard drive. Basically, you had to like clean up your hard drive to make it more organized.
Yeah.
Kind of like that.
Yeah, it's the same thing.
So this is also a good organization tool you can use for storing all your fitness resources as well. I know that a lot of people are getting mushy and soft from not working out.
Does that look soft? Does that look soft?
I know I'm running every day, but I am feeling a little bit soft.
The 8-pack has come to a 4-pack.
But what I like to do is I would use the same approach if I'm storing all my fitness resources too, like whether it's cardio routine or whether it's strength training or some kind of, Zumba fitness or something. That's how I would organize them too. And then something I'd recommend is developing yourself some kind of sense of normalcy by giving yourself a weekly schedule of exactly how many times you're going to practice and what category you're going to practice in. Yeah. So get on something sustainable to get not only for your own mental health, but also to keep yourself accountable, maybe even get an accountability buddy. See, we actually talked about this in the Global Westie Virtual Summit about on our workshop, which was called Create an Efficient Practice Blueprint. And afterwards, we gave people a freebie, which was a weekly practice plan template on a Google Doc.
Basically a calendar.
Yeah, so just to help you kind of schedule and practice out, or sorry, plan out all of your practice items, or so that you don't get overwhelmed, so that you have some good balance in your life, so that you can plan your regular life around all of this extra practice.
Yeah.
So if your viewers right now would like to get a free copy of that, what I can do is add a link if you want to the live feed, and then they can just get a free download of the same thing we offered in the workshop.
Cool.
And what it shows different examples. Oh, sorry, Diego, go.
I don't know. Just say Marian just come in, so she sent me. She and some other people, they send me some questions for you guys. On the end of that, I will do all the questions. I just try to remember that because just
okay, good,
great.
Okay. So
the other thing we want to say is another take home is using a ratio of about 4 to 1. So for every hour that I'm learning, I should use a quarter of that to practice. So I should practice 15 minutes. If I'm taking 4 lessons a week, I should be practicing an hour in that. Because if we're learning too much and never putting it into our bodies, again, it becomes overwhelming. And a lot of us have gone through this stage at some point in our lives.
That's the real.
I
totally agree with you guys, because we have so much knowledge, but knowledge means nothing if you do not use it. So if you just take the information about, I want to do 10 hours of classes about how to do a great shoulder push, but you never practice, just like you go to the college to be a physical educator and never work out. So we not be strong ever. So yeah, I totally agree about everything you say about all the map plan and all about evolve. I always say for my students when we teach, my goal is never to make them do perfectly or even do what I'm saying, but just leave the class better than they arrive, because this is the practice thing. They should leave this class better than you arrive, and you be happy with it. If I teach you like 10 movements and you learn one pretty well and you are happy with that, that's good. And what you guys are giving to them is just like, oh, make your plan, make your calendar, make sure you practice, make sure you practice this time, because if you do the first piece that you guys saying about create on Netflix or everything, and you just watch it and you do not practice, you will not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now there's some value to be said about training different parts of your dance brain, right? There is some value in just study, and we call that theory, right? So in our practice plan, we actually have space left for solo movement classes, partner movement classes, cross training, and also a theory section. We just want people to be really realistic about which classes they're doing for study and which ones they should be applying right away and practicing, because everyone spent a lot of time and money learning how to dance, but not a lot of people have spent, actually you could ask yourself this, how much time have you actually spent learning how to learn, not just learning how to dance? No, not necessarily. Your viewers, right? You spent a lot of time learning how to dance, but not a lot of time learning how to learn. So you're learning.
The same thing for teachers.
Yeah.
Teachers spend a lot of time learning how to dance, but not how to teach.
Yes. Hallelujah.
And then they become teachers because they know how to dance. Yeah, you know how to dance, but your goal is to make other people dance. So how they behave, how they learn, how they progress. Yeah, you're right.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And this is where the magic is. Like, it's easy to get distracted in West Coast Swing with playing the game. If we look at West Coast Swing as a sport, right, like soccer, okay? So if all you ever did was play soccer and you never actually learned anything about the skills of soccer or how to play the game, the strategies, the tactics behind it, then all you're doing is playing the game and you're not actually doing any practice. So playing the game for us would be like going to conventions, going social dancing, dancing all night long, competing. But there's actually, you need to improve at other aspects of the sport. You need to keep a more balanced training regimen that will help you improve. So there's like music study, memory training, reaction time, psychology, topics like focus and controlling nerves and stress, dealing with intimidation and imposter syndrome. I'm sure you come across a lot of this, Diego, with your specialty area.
Yeah, it's great because almost all you are saying works for everything in your life.
Yes.
It's not for dance. It's like if you become a better human being, you become a better dancer. If you have more focus or more discipline or is more organized or prep yourself or learn how to learn or learn how to teach or learn how to have a relationship, because dance is about the relationship with others, relationship with yourself. I always say like there is a big difference to me to be a great dancer and a great competitor. So a lot of people are just great competitors, but they are so stupid they cannot be a great dancer. To be a great dancer, you have to develop your social skills, your emotional skills. You have to make people happy on the dance floor, not just do a great show. And I do think we have a big misunderstanding in the West community about what means to be a great dancer, because people always think about competition, people always think about US Open, and they forget the social aspect of everything. I do think like, I don't know if you guys agree, or I love competition. I mean, I have been competing my whole life with karate and then dance, and I do love practice hard to compete. But I also think people have been losing themselves a little bit, even myself, because competition. So I start to create a routine, not think about what I like to do, but what should I do to follow the stupid rules, to what the judge will think about myself. So I do think we have to change a lot about this aspect. It's just my opinion.
Yeah, there's a shift in our current community that has, in some cases, they haven't even learned the aspect of the dance came from being a social dance first. Competition didn't happen until way later in it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's easy to get caught up in them, right? Easy to get caught up in the competition and the status and the reward system of making finals, and because people want to dance with you. You know, it's tough. Just to be a social dancer in our world is really, really tough. There's a lot of expectations, but like ism, like not ageism or sexism or racism, but like competitivism. You know,
yeah,
like a hard.
Like people, even us, we start to not be more happy about what we're doing, but about what the judges think about what we're doing. It's like if I do a routine and I think it was great, but I check these cards and they give me less place, I feel bad for that. And all the students are the same. It's not like how you. Many times I ask people how you did it. I don't know. I need to wait for the results. I'm asking you like you did good. Are you happy or not? Because I can dance and feel I was not that good, or I can feel I was good. But the whole point will be after the results. So if I think I did pretty bad and they call me first place, I'll be very happy. If I think I did amazing and they call me, if they didn't call me on top 5, I'll be sad. So this is one of the points of the competitions to me. The other one is make people losing, as like I told you, like they're losing themselves. People don't know exactly more how they like to dance. They think, what should I do to win competitions? Do you understand the difference?
Yeah.
Like, do you like to be more musical? Do you like to be more fun? Do you like to be more technical? Do you like to improve more, to do more hijacks? Do you like to just follow? So what do you like? I like to win competition. Like I want to be important in this world.
Yeah.
So that actually reminds me, like one of the things that I was going to mention about how to improve your West Coast swing during quarantine, right? Is to take this opportunity to kind of reset, recalibrate, and reevaluate why you're here. Get some perspective, step back and think, why do you dance? What parts of West Coast swing are really important to you? What turns your crank? What motivates you intrinsically? And we have an article on this. You know, we write the Coach's Corner blog, right? Have you seen that? So, okay, I write the Coach's Corner blog. And it's an advice blog for West Coast swing dancers and teachers. And one of the ones I'm thinking about right now is called What Do You Want? That's the title of it. You can actually search for that. And it basically is like an exercise in analyzing what it is that really drives you to do West Coast Swing in the first place, so that you can get a little bit clearer picture about why you're here, what you're in it for, and how to go and get it. So you can prioritize and get what you want out of it, rather than getting frustrated by not really knowing what you want in the first place because you've never thought about it.
Or being unrealistic about what you actually want. You think you want this, but you actually want something else.
Yeah. Exactly.
You know, the other one benefit that I'm you know, as we're talking about this, I'm seeing is because we don't have social interaction right now, when we do get to go back to classes and back to dances, and then dance events will happen, now is a great time to really go back and think about the fact that we were social dancers first. And it's going to have that influx when we jump back into it, where everyone's just going to want to be with each other and feel each other.
You so much.
So let's, you know, as it rolls on, people, let's try not to forget that.
Yeah, I actually have a question for you guys about that. How do you guys think will be after this whole Corona shit is over? How do you think the events will restart again? Do you think we like everybody goes this now, or we start to grow and slow down?
No, I think we're going to have to go back to our roots. This is something that won't be allowed. We're going to be restricted probably by federal regulations to away from using hotels and massive convention spaces again. So I think it's going to be a long time before we're able to have a convention in a conventional sense. We're going to have to start at the grassroots and get into the local studios. And I think a lot of the public is going to be starving for local classes because they're wanting to be active, they're wanting to be social again, and they're going to want to touch each other. So social dancing is like the perfect blend of that. And so as soon as they're going to be able to open the community centers and the dance studios again, I think there's going to be a little bit of a Corona boom, you know, like baby boom, but a post-Corona wave of new dancers potentially coming into the fold.
But also starting in that, like the size of venues will just be more local, and then kind of like the Lindy Hop exchanges grew. It goes to a slightly bigger venue and a slightly bigger venue. I do think it will be a long time so we can have a big event.
So what that means is the soldiers of West Coast Swing going forward are going to be the local teachers. Those are the ones that are going to revive the communities everywhere.
And community leaders that organize like dances.
And something that Myles and I have been in support of for years is empowering grassroots teachers at the grassroots level to teach West Coast Swing smarter. And so we're actually in the process of planning to support these teachers, preparing for the next wave of dancers coming in. Right now, the focus that local teachers should be aiming at, and this is something that came up in a recent Zoom meeting with some female professionals, is to take care and nurture the scene that you already have, to make sure that the existing dancers are feeling taken care of and nurtured and staying connected and to the community, feeling like they're a part of a family. So making sure that we're reaching out and not losing people, having them slip through the cracks. So that will be our priority for right now, because those are the people that are going to make up the community when we do go out and are able to restart again. Those are the ones that are going to have the existing family for those new dancers to embrace.
And whether that's like reaching out with some posts in their Facebook groups from local communities, just asking what they're all doing, you know, giving them suggestions, or even creating some literal social time, like what we're doing right now.
Yeah, I think it's cool. I do think about practicing. Like, I do think for practicing West Coast Swing, this is a great time because we all love connection. I mean, physical connection. And we all teach it a lot. And right now is the perfect time to people focus in the older aspects of the dance. So like footwork and posture and time and how you be more fluid and all this thing, because the connection is still the most, let's say, I feel more pleasure with it. Like when we dance with someone and we feel all that stretch and all that chemistry. That's
I
great.
feel pleasure with your connection, Diego.
Yeah, I feel the same. Yeah, guys, I totally agree with everything you said, and it is great. I love to give you some questions before
Sure.
we have like 10 minutes. And for those questions, let me start with questions from another people here. And some is about you, some is about West Coast Swing. The first one is, you have been a part of this scene for so long. What change have you seen in the evolution of West Coast Swing?
This doesn't have anything to do with practice.
It's
What?
just a general question. She's saying it's not about question or practicing. Sorry.
It's not about practicing.
No, it's just about you guys, because like on one of like when I create Beyond the Triples, for example, it's all about people be more humans, not we are more than dancers, right? It's like how we are besides the dance floor, how we think, like Tessa saying, Myles now is organizing the house and everything. So it's about, and people are very curious, not just about you, but about your ideas and what you have seen that they haven't.
So repeat the question again.
So basically, what change do you saw in West Coast Swing since you guys we start from now?
There have been several.
Yeah. I go back 15 more years almost.
Yeah.
Than Tessa does. So the major shifts have been like the influence of hustle in the dance. Before the hustle dancers came in the early 90s, it still very much looked like Lindy Hop. And then a big shift was getting out of one single song in a routine and being allowed to use pop music rather than older pop music like soul music and stuff. That was a huge shift. We would say hip hop was a major shift in our dance.
I'd say later than that, lyrical was huge influence on the dance that changed everything and made it the whole dance slow down and be more stretchy and gooey.
Like there's been a lot of fads, but they fade away, and these are the things that are just stuck. Like,
and then
they're not going anywhere.
The Zouk influence, you know, I don't know.
Like it's been a massive influence, not just in our world. Like, look at pop music today.
Yeah.
You can't go back 4 years without most of the songs having.
Yeah, but
rhythm,
what I love about actually the Zouk influence now is that it's kind of stabilized. I think people went a little bit overboard and got a little crazy trying to add Zouk like literally into their West Coast swing without actually letting it assimilate properly. And then it just got to be overboard and we started losing the character of West Coast. But I think that it's calmed down. It's been tempered a lot better. So now people are smarter about how they're using Zouk material in their West Coast and using West Coast techniques to make sure it blends well. I think it's a lot more mature.
But also I would say.
What I miss about that was the West Coast swing technique on the Zouk scenario, because I'm saying like I love the Zouk ideas when we bring to West Coast swing the sensuality and more head and more hips, and I would love to see the West Coast swing technique on the Zouk dancers, because I think all this connection and stretch, it's amazing. I mean, I love when I dance Zouk with West Coast swing dancers, because the way how they feel is just great. Yeah, and I think it's very good when you can pick like some, because I'm very like open-minded for all of that. And I mean, if you see Zouk like 15 years ago, it's not the same thing at all. So you guys know everything starts from Lambada, right? So it was a totally different dance. So, and what I like about West Coast swing, as Tessa is saying, because West Coast swing is still the same. We still recognize. So it's different if you see Myles and Tessa or other couples, you see it's the same dance style. It's just different technique or something like that. But if you see Zouk with two different couples, you think it's a different dance style. You understand that? Because one couple do not move and just move head, and the other couple just do triple steps and do not use head. And yeah, I mean, I love the whole process and the whole change. I think I would not like to dance West Coast swing like 30 years ago.
I don't think I would have either.
Yeah, I would not feel attracted for that.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I'm really glad that we have the influences we've had. And
Yeah.
I think also, like, the one nice thing that Zouk really did bring is awareness of three-dimensional space for the average person. High-level dancers were using that connection and stuff for a long time, but it wasn't so pliable and givable to the average dancer. But Zouk really brought that in just from the shapes that it creates. People realize, oh, I can keep connection and move in a different plane. And I love the fact that we now have that as such an easy give to our community.
Something else that I think it's been
thank you, Brazil.
evolving over the years is there's a lot more science being put into the dance. I mean, this is my background, and so it was always a no-brainer for me. But I remember when I first started dancing, there was a lot of Wild Wild West. I'm not sure if you get that reference, but basically it means there's not a lot of rules going on in terms of techniques, and not a lot of dancers were using sound techniques in their dancing or their teaching. And so there was a lot of discrepancy, a lot of inefficient movement. And our generation actually of pros has put a lot more time into learning better technique and making it more accessible to the average social dancer. So fortunately, this generation of dancers is a lot more technically sound than last generation of dancers. And so even people who were dominating 15 years ago on the circuit, if they were to take a break and come back, they would be far, far behind, but not because of style, but because of efficiency in their technique. So I'd say the entire dance form has gotten a lot more sophisticated technically. Now, something that kind of alludes or brings us back to the topic of drills, of practicing, is that a lot of people are still a little bit like naive about the concept of what it means to learn how to learn, and how drills can actually be more beneficial for training those techniques than simple repetition of choreography. There's a lot of people online right now that are delivering some amazing content, and a lot of it is kind of replicating the same thing they would do in a classroom or in a dance studio, which ends up being a lot of times is pattern oriented, whether it's choreography, whether it's solo, or whether it's partnered. Now there is benefit to choreograph learning, like spatial awareness, coordination, pathway and flow analysis, decision making, tactics to create certain effects, context for styling.
It's tactical and strategic learning. It's not technical learning as far as the technique is concerned.
You need techniques in order to do that choreography, but just doing the choreography doesn't teach you the techniques. And I think that's the shift that once people make that shift in their understanding and they start to target and get at and hunt down more of those techniques, that's where their dance starts to blossom.
Okay, that's cool. That's nice. That's great. So how long we have? Oh, we have 6 minutes. Okay, so that's the game now. You just have to answer the questions in one word or one phrase. Good? So I will give one for Myles, one for Tessa, one for Myles, one for Tessa. So Myles, start with you. What was your favorite routine from yourselves?
Rolling in the Deep.
Which one?
Rolling in the Deep, 2011.
The white one.
Nice. Cool. All right, let me right here. Tessa, your most amazing memory from West Coast Swing.
One?
Yeah.
That was my answer. That was my answer. No, I'm done. That was my answer. One?
I mean, use your example from earlier.
Which one?
Being exposed to a convention and actually seeing the real world of West Coast Swing.
You know what? I have a moment, but I can't say it in 2 words.
Okay.
Okay, I'll try. Ready?
Yeah.
Tatiana's ass. If you want to know the whole story, I need more than 2 words.
Okay, so next live, guys, be here. Next live, Tessa will tell the story
No,
about Tatiana's
it was while she was dancing.
Okay, yeah. I was thinking about that. So, Myles, after this whole Corona thing is over, if you can say for everybody, all the West dancers in the world, go to this event because it's my favorite. Which event it will be?
Canadian Swing Championships.
That's for Myles, yeah?
Obviously.
Canadian Swing Championship?
It's a 5 different style swing, multi-swing event. The crossovers and live bands.
Yeah.
It's
2
crazy.
words.
Okay, so Tessa, what's the biggest quality of Myles as a dancer?
I don't think we should talk about that here.
The highest quality, like this. Oh, okay, I get it. Okay, I talk as a dancer. And Beck is like happy.
Oh, I'm blushing. Shit. Yeah.
His best quality?
Yeah.
As a dancer?
Yeah.
God, again, only one? Really?
Just one that you really like it.
Okay, I got one. Masculine grace.
Masculine grace. Love
Yes.
that. That's just
People
cool.
used to say masculine fluidity or
No.
masculine fluid.
That's not good. No,
Yeah.
don't say
That
that.
doesn't-
Yeah, it was good. That's good. Myles, your favorite follow, you could not say Tessa.
like of all time.
Yeah.
Favorite
mine.
follow.
I love how that follow feels.
You should have sent us these questions in advance. You think about it.
That's the good thing right now.
Yeah, Becca, Myles Boing is pretty good.
Probably of the last 10 years, I would actually say like Leah Brown, actually.
Aww.
Yeah.
Yeah, Leah.
That's good. That's amazing. And I gotta say that all the time. Probably for almost we all, if we have to pick one, we will probably not pick a pro or a champion. And
Yeah.
yes, like as advanced or all-star. I have the same like for me it's Angie from France. I don't know if you know her. She's from Lyon, and it's always amazing. And all the time when I talk with pros, they always say someone who are just amazing on the social dance, like not like that U.S. Open champion. And that's the difference between great dancers. Yeah, it was great. Tessa, if there is after this thing is over, if you can change one thing in the West Coast swing system, what you would change?
Really? Okay. But you only want one word?
Or one phrase?
Well, I'm already changing teacher training. So
Okay.
check. So I would say judge training because that's my next project.
That's good. That's nice. Guys, we have 1 minute more, so I just want to say thank you for you. It was fun. It was amazing. I love it. Good luck in your projects. I know you guys will help a lot of people in this community yet. So just say for everybody how they can find you. What is the best way to talk to you right now?
Okay. So if you would like the weekly practice plans, or you'd like the article I mentioned on what do you want, then send us a DM and we'll send you the link to those things. And otherwise, if you want to get a hold of us, you can check out swingliteracy.com. And we're on Facebook under our names, Myles Munroe, Tessa Cunningham Munroe.
Together.
And on Instagram, Myles and Tessa.
That's cool. That's lovely,
Yeah.
guys.
So much
Obrigado.
fun. Obrigado,
Thank
Diego.
you. It was amazing. It was a great time, and I hope to see you guys really soon.
Yes, thank you.
Hopefully we can,
Take
you can
care.
pat my head.
Take
in
care.
person.
Stay healthy. We love you. Mwah.
Love you guys. Take care.